is how to do the balayage. The thing is no matter who you learn from, there's going to be a million different ways. So Michelle does a different way, Instagram does it a different way, whatever. Every stylist has their own technique. As y'all learned yesterday with the guest artists, if y'all noticed the reoccurring theme that the students were saying is Joseph taught me the easiest way. So this is the easiest way to get that balayage look. So the thing that's hard about a balayage is it's almost a color melt. You're going to melt the natural into whatever color that you're trying to do. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be blonde. It could be red, it could be pink, it could be blue, it could be whatever you want. So what you need to discover is what you're trying to do. So if you're going to do two colors, let's say we're going to do the top one color and then the bottom another color. Like she doesn't want any of this. Let's say this is our client. She has gray hair. So she wants to cover that gray and she wants the bottom to melt in with blonde. So what would I do? Would I put the blonde and the color together and mix them? What would happen? So if I saturated the top with color and then I saturated the bottom with bleach, what is going to happen in the middle?
Line.
It won't be liney, they're going to fight each other. That bleach is going to try to lift that color and that color is going to deposit that bleach. So what's going to happen is you're going to get a dark color and then you're going to get some magic in the middle and then your blonde in the ends, things like that. So you have to be smarter. So what would I do first, the bleach or the dark color?
The bleach.
Why would I do the dark color first?
It'll bleed onto the bleach if you do the bleach first.
Okay, so if I do the dark color first, what's going to happen when I rinse it out and then I put my bleach on? It's going to fight that color. So now I got to lift the color I put on and then lift her hair. So if you're smart, you're going to do the bleach first. So you're going to bleach it out, get the blonde that you want, and then you go in with your dark color and then you put it on. And that way, if you do have any lines from the bleach or any discoloration, you can cover it with the color and make it blend more. So think smarter, not harder. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're just going to pretend she wants to keep her virgin hair and we're just going to make her ends lighter. Okay, I'm going to show you all the proper application of a balayage. Okay, so what you want to do, no matter if she wears her hair to the right, to the left, whatever, if the client's going to be that picky, then part it. But at the end of the day, it has no choice because we're going to do everything the same. So no matter how she wears her hair, it's going to be the same amount of color all over. Like I told y'all, I'm teaching y'all the easiest way. Cool? So anything outside of this realm, you're making it complicated. Cool? But if you want to do it, then do it. Just express to me, Ashley, Brandy, whoever's on the floor, hey, I'm doing this technique. Does that make sense? So the technique that I'm going to teach y'all will give you no lines. It will give you a smooth transition, everything like that. If you want an example of what it's going to look like, look at Alyssa V's hair. How it had that transition, everything like that. That is what we're doing. Cool? So what you do is you're going to take your first two sections and you're going to pin them up. So almost half of a 4 section. So you do your first two and then you're going to do the whole back as a piece. Does that make sense? Okay. Then you're going to get your blending comb and you're going to take a paper thin section. Okay. The thing with bleach, no matter what you're doing, if you're doing an all over bleach, a balayage, highlights, lowlights, whatever, you always want it paper thin. If you do any thicker than paper thin, when you go to slap that bleach on, it's going to come out orange, it's going to come out yellow, it's going to come out reddish, it's going to be inconsistent. So the thinner you can make it, the better. But you don't want to make it super, super thin, then you're going to be here all damn day. Does that make sense? Okay? You're going to get your blending brush or your teasing brush. You don't want to use a blending comb because a blending comb is going to give you too much of a uniform look, while a brush is really going to roughen it up and give you that concentration that you want and need. Okay? So you're just going to get your hair and then you're going to rough it up about 3 times depending on what the look is. If you notice when the hair, I don't know if y'all need to come closer or what, but you see how it's a solid piece right now? So when you start to roughen it up, it's actually weaving it. Now you're missing pieces. So depending on how much saturation you want, the more you tease. So if you notice, the more I tease, the more it's getting weaved, that weaved look, okay? You're gonna push this up here, and then you're just gonna get a foil. Just a plain foil. You don't have to fold it up, do anything fancy, because what does the foil do? It just protects it. It's so this way, she's literally getting no bleach on her back. That's all a foil does. It doesn't heat it up. It doesn't make it activate faster, anything like that. You don't need to fold it up because all folding's gonna do is put little lines in it, everything like that. I know it's a dirty habit to break, but you're wasting way too much time trying to fold it up and do all kinds of stuff. Just slap it on there. You're gonna get your color, and depending on the saturation that you want, so it's up to you, what is your look? So for sure, you're about to gonna do halfway and make sure to saturate all the bottom. If you want a higher balayage, then you will go higher. Does that make sense? But I usually start right about half and go down and make sure everything's evenly saturated. Next, you're gonna use the side of your brush. You're gonna get it, and you can pull that foil down because you don't need it. It's just there as protection. It's not doing anything. And then all you're gonna do is feather up, depending on how high you want it to go. So you can make W's, how I go down, I'm not gonna do that piece, I'm gonna do this piece, but you always wanna saturate the line. So even though I don't want this piece to go high, I still need to saturate it up a little bit, so when I comb it out, it's gonna blend. If I keep it blunt, because if you think about it, when I put this color on there, it was a blunt line, and then I pushed everything down. That will literally look like a line. So you just have to blur that line a little bit. Does that make sense? Okay, we're done. And then you continue to do the same thing. You tease it. It's your vision. How much saturation do you want? Get a foil. And then you do the same thing. So it should be very easy, fairly easy, things like that. It shouldn't take too much work. Just like that. It's okay if that's not in a foil. It's not gonna hurt anything, okay? So now you're thinking, oh, well, I have to foil them, I have to do this crap. You're just wasting foil doing this, trying to cover it all up. If you think about it, I'm gonna continue that pattern, right? So I'm gonna take another paper thin section. Oh no, it touched the bleach. It's okay, it's gonna get bleached. You just take your piece again, you continue that pattern. So if you think about it, you're gonna place that here.
So you don't have to weave after teasing?
And this is gonna lay here. So it's gonna seal that foil. Does that make sense? So you don't have to worry about laying another foil down because this foil is gonna be its sister foil on top. It's gonna protect it, cool? So if you're worried about bleedage or anything like that, it's fine. It's gonna cover itself, okay? You're gonna continue that pattern all the way till you get to the occipital bone. Cool? So we're gonna flash forward to the occipital bone.
Did you have fallout right now, or did you go back to back?
Huh?
You went back to back.
Back to back. So we're here now, right? So let's pretend we did everything that we were supposed to do, and now we're gonna flash forward to this part right here. So we made it all the way up to the occipital bone. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue the same pattern for 2 more times, okay? So now we're gonna weave in the front. So we're gonna do the front piece, and we're gonna work in a horseshoe all the way around, doing the same technique. I'm gonna tease this up. I'm gonna get my foil. Anybody wanna tell me what's wrong with this piece?
Too thick.
Too thick. But this is just a demo, so we're fine because this gel's not gonna process. Go up. My thing about the side of the face is people want those money pieces, cool? So you will hear that term a lot. I want a money piece. I want it to face frame my thing right here. So how you achieve that look is when you do these side pieces, go higher around the pieces around the face. So keep this low, so you can still go up with it, just don't go as high. Why up here, I will literally go all the way up to the teased part. Because that tease part is going to be blurred when I comb it out. So it seems like it's going to be a lot of saturation right there. But when you comb that piece out, all that hair that you teased up is actually going to come down. And it's going to blend really pretty. And now she has those money pieces around. So it's going to be a deep V around the face. And then a little V towards the back. Does that make sense? That's how you make the... If you go all the way up here, it's just going to be a blonde piece. Does that make sense? So it's about being visual. After I do 2 strips going all the way around, that's when it changes. So the remainder of this balayage, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna tease. After you're through teasing, the remainder of the hair, so the rest all the way to the top, you're gonna weave it. So this is the only time, because you're gonna have this situation going on. So if I leave this hair out, it's gonna touch this and process. So this is the only time where I would lay a foil down just to protect this hair that you're not gonna foil. Does that make sense? And then you're gonna get a foil. And then you're gonna repeat the same thing. You're gonna get this, you're gonna saturate. And don't be scared to touch it. Like your hand becomes the board, okay? And then we're gonna go and we're just gonna weave it up, things like that. And that's what you do the remainder of the balayage. The reason why we leave these pieces out is if you look at a true balayage picture, you have their natural and it blurs into that blonde part. If you make it all blonde and you do not do this weaving from the occipital up, what's going to happen is it's just going to be two-toned. It's going to be blonde and it's going to be brown. So what you're not seeing is when you blow dry this out and you do that curling iron effect and you make it wavy and you piece it out, that's how you get that melted look, because your eye is looking at those brown pieces that are weaved around those blonde pieces, everything like that. That's how everything becomes married and it bleeds together. Cool? Question?
Could
You can
we-
stop the video now. You're welcome, Def.